Testing, testing. There we go. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So we say shalom, shalom. Everybody, come on into Yah's house. It's going to be all right. We welcome all those who are in the house on tonight, and then those who will be joining in at their convenience on the platforms that we offered up. Come on in and say shalom, leave a comment, share it, and give us a thumbs up or a like, and so that others would see and hear. And those who are here, this is a witnessing tool. We can get the Torah out. We can share it with friends and family. And I know it's difficult. We're living in a difficult time now. A lot of us are not tuned in. They don't have an ear to hear nor a heart to perceive. Neither are their eyes to see just what is going on in this day and how Abba is getting us ready for this end time. It's important. A lot of people are claiming salvation, claiming a lot of different things, but it's important to know truth. Truth is facts. Facts is truth. It's important to know that. We have been led, and I'm trying to understand. I know it's because of Israel's sins, transgressions, iniquities, that he had turned their back on them and allowed them to believe a lie. Trying to get a clearer picture of how we got to where we are today. I think many times most of the times, if not all the time, we have relied on teaching and understanding of men who were not Israelites. We took our book, and this could be the curses that were on Israel. But we've taken a book that is written in our language, but we don't do our due diligence. We're not really searching or doing our due diligence, and even to the fact of understanding that for 1,200 years, this book was not even available. It was not available. And so people are trying to trace history. Some people have gone into history, and some people said that Israel has always had Torah, but actually Israel has been absent of Torah. Yasharel, Jerusalem, and the people, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has been absent of Torah. They have not had Torah. They've not kept Torah. And the understanding that we have of Roman Christianity is what's going to cause a lot of people to lose out. We're coming into a time that the world has never seen before. And I know many of us, I look at my own personal history, and I've always wanted to know truth and didn't want to be lied to. But I'm finding out as I study and have my ears open to the Ruach and my heart open to the Ruach, my eyes open to the Ruach, and how the Ruach, it's the Ruach that is opening up the understanding. It's the Ruach that is doing it, what the world calls the Spirit. And there's a lot of things that's happened down through time in the generations of man. And of Israel. I can't express enough. I cannot express enough that this book that we have that we call the Bible was sacred scriptures. It was sacred book of prophecy. The book is full of prophecy. It's full of mysteries. Yahusha told his disciples, he says, unto you it was given to understand the mysteries of the kingdom. And that was just 12 men. And he says, but unto them, everybody else, the masses, wasn't given to them. It was not given to them. And even from the time of Yahushua Mashiach, his life, the short ministry that he had until his death, only a few people could actually see. We look at Nicodemus, and Nicodemus was a ruler of the Yahudim. He was very educated in Torah. And when I say Torah, the law of Musha is in Torah. Torah is full of instructions, mysteries, prophecies, things. That's all in the Torah of life. We read that in First Yahuchanan. If you could put that up here real quick. First Yahuchanan, chapter 1, I think it's verse number 1. First Yahuchanan, chapter 1 and verse number 1. But when we look at the word of life, we're looking at Torah. Everything that life defines, you'll find in Torah. And this book was given to a people about a people and about their relationship with their Elohim. That's what, when you pick up what you call the Holy Bible, when you pick it up and you start to look into it and read it, the teaching that it was given to the world is incorrect. I think that's what Yah's kind of, revealing it more and more. Many of us are brought up in the Roman Catholic Christian Church, and we think that this book was given to the world, to every nation, and that's not true. That is a miss. It's a miss. You can actually say it's a lie. Even in the world to come, the ages to come, the new world, the reset, which we're getting ready to go through this reset, and a lot of people are going to perish. A lot of people ain't going to make it, go through this reset. But even coming out of the reset, the focus is going to be on Yasharel, their kingdom, and you can't have a kingdom without a king. It's going to be the kingdom of Yasharel that he's going to give over to the saints of the Most High Yah. And all other dominions and kingdoms and people are going to come to Yasharel to be taught Torah of life. Torah. Going to be taught Torah. All these other nations are going to come up to Jerusalem. They're going to see our king. We're going to reign with our king. We'll be able to see our king and to reign with our king. There's a special place for us. But all other nations and all other kingdoms and all other dominions are going to come to Yasharel to learn of Torah, because Torah is life. Torah is life. You don't know how to live unless you know Torah. You're living, you're breathing, and it is written, and you are written in Torah, because there's a lot of disobedience that's written in Torah. It talks about it. My disobedient children. You can go from Genesis all the way to Malachi, and you can see how his chosen people failed him time and time and time again. They failed him. They failed him. So, knowing who the book is written to and knowing those people, to understand a people and to understand a nation, what do you have to understand about those people? If I really want to understand a people and I want to understand their nation and who they are, what comes with that? Their culture, their way of life, their culture. And if you try to study this book and eliminate the culture of Yasharel, you're off. You're skewed. Your whole vision, you have no eschatology. You know what I mean by eschatology? The study of end times. You have no eschatology if you take this book and say that the people and the culture this book is talking about is irrelevant to me. You have no eschatology. Because the study of end times and what is about to come on this world deals with these people. Well, I thought it was Yahushua Mashiach, who the world calls Jesus Christ. I thought the whole book was about Yahushua Mashiach. I know we called Yahuchanan 1 and 1. Let's read this, and then I want to go to Romans chapter 15 and verse number 8. People who study, you know what Kepha said about studying Shaul's letters? They're hard, and what do people do? They wrestle with them to what? Their own destruction. Their own destruction. Our alarm should be going off. Boop, 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 boop. If somebody comes and all they teach is Shaul, your alarm ought to go off. Hey, wait a minute, something's wrong. If all you know is Shaul and his letters, something wrong, because you're going to wrestle with his letters, because a lot of things that he writes is hard to be understood. It's hard. People come out of reading Shaul's letters, especially Romans. Oh my God, I don't know. What is he? I mean, he's saying one thing. He's over here. He's saying you're justified by law. Then he says you're not justified by law. No, I mean, Shaul is on different sides. And so if you're unskilled and you're unlearned in Torah, you take Shaul's letters and you wrestle with them to your own destruction. So if somebody is just teaching Shaul and that's it, your alarm should go off. It should go off because let's look at this. Let's look at this verse here. That which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes, which we have looked upon, our hands have handled. And what was that? The word of life, or Torah of life. Torah is life. If you really want to live, you have to know Torah. And Torah does not start in Romans and go to Revelation. Torah does not start in the book of Acts. Some people say, well, no, just start in Acts chapter 2, and that's where you start, and then you go to Revelation. That's not Torah. When somebody says that, wait a minute. If you don't understand Torah, how are you going to take Shaul's letters and try to explain them to me? Because all you're going to do is wrestle with them. Anybody that's wrestling with Scripture is going to be destroyed. If you're wrestling with it. I'm sorry, I don't understand. I don't understand. You're wrestling with Torah, you're going to be destroyed. You're going to be destroyed. Torah, the word of life, has to settle down in your heart, in your mind. You have to receive Torah, the instructions of life, The word of life. You have to receive it, and you can't pick it up in the middle or towards the end. Because even at the end, when he's dealing with Revelations, when he's dealing with that, he's dealing with destructions of nations and the preservation of Yasharel. That's what he's doing. Anybody outside of Yasharel will not have eternal life. You won't have it. And it's difficult for many of us because all we know is Constantine Christianity. That's all we know for most of us. That's it. You got some people say all they know is Acts 2:38. That's it. I don't know anything else. Acts 2:38. And what Yahusha was dealing with and what the nation of Israel had to go through is they had to be born again even to see Torah or to be able to enter into the kingdom where everlasting life is, where eternal life is. They had to go through a new birth, and that new birth, you have the ability to procreate. And what do you think he wants you to procreate or produce life? He wants you to be able to procreate and produce life through Torah, through the words, through the instructions. Many of us don't even know the 9 fruits. You could go into any Christian, Roman Catholic, Constantine Christian church and say, tell me the 9 fruits. Now, some of them might know the 9 fruits. What are the 10 commandments? You might get some of the seasoned ones to stumble over the 10 commandments. And you know, walking with Yah all your life. I've been saved for 200 years and don't know 10 commandments. Well, I never thought they was. Torah is the instructions in the word of life. This is what we're going to go back to. And for some of us, the ones that he's awakening in this age before the reset, he's taking us back because that's a part of the promise in Torah, is to take us back to where we left. Romans 15 and verse number 8. Romans 15 and verse number 8. And he says, now I say that Yahushua Mashiach was a minister of the circumcision for the truth of Elohim. And that circumcision there is talking about Israel, Yasharel. A minister of Yasharel for the truth of Elohim. Yahushua Mashiach, who the world calls Jesus Christ, came to confirm the promises, more than one, made unto the fathers. When you talk about the fathers, you have to go back to Abraham, Yishak or Isaac, Jacob, which is Jacob. Those are considered the fathers. So what promises did he give Abraham, Yishak, and Jacob? This here, even this here, just the very enunciation of it means you got to go back. You got to go back. When you talk about a reset, the world is getting ready to be reset. The market is getting ready to crash. The economy is going to change. Fiat money is going to be done away with. We're going into a new currency. There's going to be a reset. People are going to return to their land. You think you got a problem at the border now? Wait till all this stuff starts to be resolved. You ain't seen nothing yet. A lot of those people that are crossing that border and everything, their ancestors were here. It's the Europeans that came over here. there were cities and nations of people when the Europeans came over here. The reason why we think this country was vacant is because we learn our history through their perspective and their mindset. So we think Christopher Columbus came over here and wasn't nobody over here but a few Indians chasing turkeys and killing buffalo. When there was cities and structures and all kind of history in the Grand Canyon that dates back, they've been here since, 1600? You got stuff that dates back 1,000, 2,000 years in this land. We think this land was discovered because that's what Europe tells us. That's what they tell us. So we go to school and they teach us that in history class. So we take the test and we say Christopher Columbus discovered America. It's a lie. It's a straight out lie. But we have to go to school and learn that because the culture and the system that we're in is not Yasharel. We're not in the kingdom of Yasharel. The material kingdom of Yasharel has not manifested itself yet. But where did he put that deposit? Huh? It is in us. He put a deposit in us. Has anybody ever bought a car or a house or whatever, and they tell you got to put up some earnest money? And so that earnest money is just a down payment. You haven't purchased the car yet. You haven't purchased the house yet. It's just a down payment. It's some earnest money. It's earnest because you're saying, I'm going to go through with this contract. I'm going to go through with this. I'm going to kill this mortgage. That's what a mortgage is. You want to put it to death. So you just work at, I've been working to kill this mortgage for 30 years. But you put up a down payment or some earnest money. What he did was he deposited the kingdom within us. But when the great reset comes and when Yahusha returns, he's setting up his kingdom. Then it's going to be manifest. But what if you don't have it in you? What if he did not put the deposit in you? What if you don't have the kingdom down in you? And it's going to be hard. I don't think a lot of people is going to make it. I really don't. Yahusha came to confirm those promises, which means you got to go back. If somebody reads that and says, well, what promises is he confirming? And he even, we can keep reading here because even the Gentiles got to rejoice in us. They got to come into Yasharel. Didn't it say rejoice ye Gentiles with what? With his people. Constantine Christianity does not give you the word of life. Because the word of life or Torah, what did Yahusha say? I come in the what? Volume of the book. It's what? Written of me. That's before anything was written in the first century. When that testimony, when he says, lo, I come in the volume of the book, it's written of me. Shaul's letter wasn't written. You didn't have the Basora or the gospel. When he says, I come in the volume of the book, that's from the very beginning, what we call Genesis or Bereshit, all the way through the Tanakh, which is the prophets. He says, all of that is me, or all of that is the word of life. Oh, that's the word of life. So if I don't have an understanding of the word of life, then I'm going to really be in dire straits as we see things unfold and things are going to end here. And when I say end, what I mean is the end of this empire. What empire is that? United States of America is an empire. How can you say United States is an empire? What controls us? What do we say controls us? What is our declaration as a nation? What are we known for around the world? A constitution, and we want to spread the United States of America all over the world because we have a what? A democracy. We are a nation of a democracy, which we've given the power to the people. And that is a straight up lie. We ain't got no democracy. They tell you that. They sell you that. They even sell that to other nations, and they want them to set up a democracy that they can manipulate. So the people who are the heads of some of these other nations and stuff, you can rest assured that the empire has their hand in it. Somewhere they have their hand in it. Our CIA is all over the world. China don't want them over there. Russia don't want them in their country, and I understand why. Because our CIA and we're an empire because our military bases, we have 750 military bases around the world. Nobody even comes close to that. Nobody even has more than 12. We force our will on other nations. You either do it our way or we sanction you. You'll either have a democracy or you're our enemy. You want to be the friend of the United States, and if you're not our friend, then you're our enemy. Because the United States of America is an empire, they're imperial, and they force their will on other nations, and they're spoken of in the book of Revelation as that beast that gets its power. Where does that beast get its power from? Hasatan. From the devil. The beast gets its power from the devil. It said, in Babylon dwelleth every filthy and foul bird. When you look at this culture is corrupt to the core. And this is the culture of this country, and Constantine's Christianity is going to kill a lot of Israel. A lot of Israel are going to die because they don't believe in the word of life. They don't believe in Torah. They're not following Torah. They don't believe in Torah. So they're going to perish. They're going to perish. It tells us that in Yirmiyahu 50, we have to escape. We got to escape the beast. We got to escape Mystery Babylon that is spoken of in Revelation. We have to escape them. But you have a lot of people that's not going to escape. They'll tell you, I ain't going nowhere. It's prophesied in Torah that Mystery Babylon is going to be destroyed. It's going to be ashes. The smoke is going to go up. The smoke is not even going to go out. It's just going to continually go up to heaven. Everybody that remains here is going to perish. And you tell people that, they don't believe it. Because they don't believe Torah. They don't believe the word of life. They don't believe it. When it talks about Yahusha, anytime you talk about Yahusha, and I know a lot of people want to talk about Yahusha and say, well, Yahusha is salvation. This is where we're going to be saved. I'm going to be saved. And you say, saved from what? I'm going to be saved from my sins. Be saved from my sins. Isn't that what we believe in Constantine's Christianity? I'm going to be saved from my sins. Well, can you explain that? Can we really explain according to Torah? Can we explain? And when I say Torah, I'm talking about the volume of the book, because that's where Yahusha came, through the volume of the book. Can we explain that through the volume of the book, or are we going to leave out Torah altogether? Yah so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. That's what we say. And then we look at Yahuchanan 3:18. Then we look at that, and he says a little bit more. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already. Now, if you believe on him, what he's saying here, you've got to understand the volume of the book. Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do the will of Abba. I come in the volume book to do the will of Abba. But he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of Elohim, or Ben Elohim. And you can tell people today, his name is Yahusha because he was named after his father. And they'll tell you, don't use that name around here. Why do you think they say that? Why do you think they say that? I've got a few answers to that question, but what do you think? Why do you think they say that? The name that was given, nobody spoke English, so there was no pronunciation of J. That was not it. Do you believe in the name of the only begotten? And then we tell you what his name is, and you say, no, I don't want to hear that. That's not his name. That's not who I know. Well, who do you know? Well, I know Jesus, but can you show me that in the volume of the book? Because Yahusha says, I come in my Father's name. I got the Father's name. The Father's name's in the volume of the book. So when I say the Father's name of Yahu and the Son's name is Yahusha, what I'm saying is Yahu saves. So they're condemned because they don't believe in the name of the only begotten Ben Elohim. People don't realize that there was no English Bible until the 17th century. So what did they call him? Help me explain this. Okay. We're going to go through a reset, and he's going to take us back. He's going to take us back. Who do you think you're going to meet when he takes you back? Yahusha? What are we going to, in the book of Daniel, he's called so we're going back to ancient times. We're going back to the Ancient of Days. Let me tell you this, hear me good. Nobody in the kingdom's going to call him Jesus. Nobody. They ain't going to call him Jesus. Because really the ones who are calling on Jesus, saying Jesus, a lot of them won't be in the kingdom. I know it's hard. I know that's hard to accept. I know it is. Because that's all we've been raised on. Because remember I was asking one thing I was going to say was, that's what I was taught. That's what I was taught. I was taught to call on a name that was created in the 17th century. That's what I was taught. Well, what about, do you know that Yahusha talked about Christianity? He talked about it. We don't want to see that because we feel that we're good Christians. So we don't want to receive that. Well, wait a minute. I cast out devils in that name. I'll show you. That ain't good enough. Them devils know. Them devils know the power that resides in you is what you believe and your faith. That's where your power's at. He said, all you got to do is have faith the size of a mustard seed. That's all you got to have. You'll be able to move mountains with that little bit of faith. He didn't say, all you got to have is my name and you're going to move mountains. No, he says what you got to have is faith. The man came to him and said, was it his daughter or his son was sick? And he says, I have men under my authority, just like you do. And when I tell them to, you do this and you do that, they go and do it. He said, what? What did he tell Yahusha to do what? Speak the word. Just speak it. Just say my daughter is whole. I know what's going to happen. There was no prayer meeting. There was no hollering. There was no calling. It wasn't none of that. He said, be it unto you as you will. Faith. We underestimate what we have because we've been taught and trained differently. But one thing we got to have is faith. I got to have faith. I can't go through my day without faith. I have faith to believe. I got faith to believe this. I believe in the name of the only begotten. Matthew 1:21. Matif Yahu 1:21. And she shall bring forth a ben, and thou shalt call his name Yahusha. Oh, no, that is in English. This didn't come out till the 17th century. What did they call him for 1,700 years? When nobody was using English, what did they call him? Even in the first edition of the King James, I got a first edition, 1611 copy at home, first edition. It doesn't say J-E-S-U-S. It's I-E-S-U. Some of them say I-E-S-U-S. Some of them say I-E-S-V. 4 letters. Because they got it from the Latin. Our Messiah didn't speak Latin. Our Messiah didn't speak Greek. Abba Yah did not speak English. He said Yahusha. The reason why many of us are not going to make it in, and they give, everything is written before is written for our learning. There was a time I think it was the book of Judges, where they had to say, we got to find out who's our people and who's not. So they gave them a name to say. And the people who were able to pronounce the name was able to get in. Do y'all remember what I'm talking about? I'm going to have to look that up in Judges. And the ones who were not able to say the name could not get in. Remember that?
It was like one word that they couldn't speak.
Yeah. Only the ones that could speak that word or that name was allowed to get in. And see, everything that's written before us, we better get that, because some people don't believe that. Romans 15:4. Romans 15:4. For whatsoever things were written, before Romans. Isn't that what he said? Written aforetime. Before Romans, before Acts, before Matthew, Mark, Luke, before the Greek translation, whatsoever things were written aforetime, what were they written for? So I go back to Torah to learn. My class time is in Torah. I read Torah. I'm in Torah because the things that were written aforetime, they're written for my learning. I can learn from Torah. I read a proverb a day. Proverbs. Today was the 7th chapter. As I'm reading the Proverbs, I'm in my mind, in my ruach, I'm listening to the voice of Yahusha. Yahusha is feeding me. He's reading to me. So every time you go to Proverbs and you start reading through that, just take it as if Yahusha is teaching. Let me teach you a proverb. Did he teach Proverbs? He taught parables. They even says, why are you speaking unto us in parables? Why don't you just tell us plainly? So as I'm reading Proverbs, and just like in Proverbs number 7 today, and it's like Yahusha was teaching, and that's how our sons should read it, because it warns you against that woman. What does this nasty culture teach our sons now? Oh, do it. Get it. Get it, man. You don't want to be no virgin. How many times have you hit it? Are you popping it? All that's all they want to teach our son. But if you read Torah and read Proverbs, the 7th chapter, as if Yahusha is speaking to you, he would say, hear the commandments, my son. And he starts teaching you. He'll teach you Torah. Because we don't want to go back to that. We're too busy jumping and shouting. We're too busy, the people on the organ, we're too busy flopping around the room. We're too busy doing flips. Folks act like they ain't had church and folks ain't falling out. Show me in Torah where Yahusha prayed over somebody and pushed them down. You won't see it in this book. You ain't going to see that. We got a new thing. You better leave that new stuff alone. Man, you should have seen the service last night. Man, folks was getting slain in the spirit. No book for it. Absolutely none. No book. But we do it, and we think folks ain't had church. We want to see folks jumping off of the platform, jumping up on the pews, running around, walking through the crowd, and folks doing chants and stuff as the man's walking through the crowd. Oh man, we had church. Can't find it in Torah. Torah is the word of life. It's the word of life. It's going to teach us. Torah is meant to bring you back to the Ancient of Days. That's what it's meant to do. It's meant to take us back. There is going to be a reset, and we're going to go back. Those who have Torah in them and will have that new covenant are going to be the ones that will be teaching nations. Will be teaching nations. It's not going to be many. It's not going to be many. Romans 11, and let's start at verse number 1. I say then, hath Elohim cast away his people? Let's see what Shaul believed. Because Constantine Christians will tell you he's done with Israel. I don't know why y'all talk about Israel. He's done with Israel. That's a lie. That's a lie against Torah. It's an outright lie against Torah. Here's why a lot of people in Constantine Christianity is not going to make it. It's because they can't accept the truth that's in Torah. So they're not going to make it. They're not going to be ready for the reset. They won't be here. It's sad. Do y'all know how many folks are going to perish during this reset? Do y'all know the earth population is going to go down? He's going to seal and preserve his people because he's going to repopulate. But this world, when they go to the reset, and we're not far away, because when it happens, you think he's going to give you a runway and give you a whole bunch of time? Well, This time next year is going to be when I do the reset. How did he say it was going to happen? Like a thief in the night. Nobody goes home and goes to sleep thinking, I'm going to get robbed tonight. There's a thief coming in my house tonight. Because if you knew, what would you do? You lock your doors, you stay up, you get your Glock in one hand, a Ruger in the other, and an AR. I mean, you be ready. Because the thief is coming tonight. No, because the thief ain't going to announce and tell you when he's coming. This great reset and everything that's going to go down, it's going to happen so fast. If you're not prepared, then you'll probably perish. Either prepare or perish. That's something new. Prepare or perish. Because that's how it's going to be. Notice what he said. So has he cast away his people? Elohim forbid. So every time you're in those Constantine Christian churches and they tell you that he's done with his people, you ought to tell them, Elohim forbid. That's a lie. You need to stop lying because he ain't never cast away his people. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. Now, why do you think he put the seed of Abraham in here? Remember, why did Yahusha come? To confirm the promises given unto the Father. So Shaul says, I'm the seed of Abraham. Even in Galatians, especially in the 3rd chapter, he talks about the seed. And being, if you're of the seed, what do you get? The promises. Shaul knew it. If I'm of the seed, I get the promises. Romans 9 and 4. I'm gonna come back. We got some scriptures to hit. I'm gonna try to hit them tonight. Who are Israelites to whom pertain the adoption and the glory? The adoption is the new birth. Because Yahusha told Nicodemus, aren't you a ruler of the Yahudim and you don't know these things? You got to be born again of water and spirit. The adoption was given to Yasharel, who are Israelites, to whom pertain the adoption and the glory and the covenants, which is more than one, because there's more than one covenant in Torah, and the giving of the law, and the service of Elohim, and the promises. Is it Romans 3 and 1? Let's look at Romans 3 and 1. What advantage then have the Yehudi? Or what profit is there of circumcision, which is Yasharel? Notice what he says. Much in every way, he's answering. You know what? I heard somebody quote this scripture and they left it right here. They left it right at the question. Didn't go to the answer. Because this gentleman was saying, even Paul says, what advantage has the Jew, or what advantage is there of circumcision? And he left it right there. See, if you don't know all of Torah from cover to cover, the volume of the book, somebody would listen to that gentleman and think that there is no advantage. Well, there ain't no advantage for me. And that's why a lot of Israelites are selling out their birthright. Because somebody told them there's no advantage. Keep reading. Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed what? Oracles of Elohim, which is the Torah that came. Oracles are the words spoken from Elohim. The Torah, the word spoken, the oracle spoken from Elohim was given unto the circumcision. So he says they have an advantage. There is an advantage. But you have to understand, all Israelites ain't going to make it. But they do have an advantage because it was given unto them. For what if some did not believe? Because I'm a Constantine Christian. I don't think there's no advantage to the Yehudi or the circumcision. Well, he goes on and says, well, what if some did not believe? What if you don't believe that Yasharel has an advantage? What if you don't believe that? Shall their unbelief make the what? Faith of Elohim without effect? No, no, no. Elohim forbid. Yea, let Elohim be true, but every man. So everybody that wants to put Yasharel and say that Yah and Yasharel get you to sell your birthright and you ain't got no advantage and all this and that, this is what y'all do, just take them here. Because see, one thing, the way you fight the adversary is with Torah, is with the word. That's how you fight them. I ain't going to have time tonight to build up to that, but in Hebrews, he talks about all his adversaries and what's going to happen to his adversaries. Everybody that speaks against Torah here is an adversary. It's an adversary. Let Elohim be true. Let Yah be true, and every man a liar. Let's look at Daniel. Let's go to Daniel chapter 7. Look at verse 14. And there was given him, well, let's go up to verse 11. Let's see. Let's go up to verse 11. Okay, verse 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man, the Ben Adam, came with the clouds of Shamaim. Came with the clouds of Shamaim. Now, this is in reference to judgment. When it says, I'm coming in the clouds, that's why when he was standing before the Pharisees and at his death, and they said, tell us if you be the Mashiach. And he says, you won't see me again until you see me coming in the clouds. And they say, he's blaspheming, whatever. Because what he's saying is he's coming to judge. This coming in the clouds of the Shamaim is another reference for he's coming to judge. He is going to be the judge of the whole world. He's coming to judge. There's certain idioms in Hebrew, you have to understand the culture to understand the idiom. Let's go back 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years. And we were living in that time. And we said, man, it's raining cats and dogs. What do you think they're going to think? Man, they looking, what's dogs and cats coming out of the sky? Yeah, they go to, wait, but are they flying? How are they getting down here? And really what we're saying is just going to be heavy rain. It's just heavy rain, but we call it that. It's an idiom. So there's certain Hebraic idioms that you have to understand the culture to understand what they're saying. He's not talking about literal clouds. When he's coming with the clouds of the Shamaim, he's coming with the judgment of the heavens. Listen, and came to the, you mean he's going to the Ancient of Days? Let me tell you something. If you see the Ancient of Days, it's not going to be until there's a reset and you got to return. Listen. And came to the Ancient of Days. And they brought him near before him, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages is going to do what? Serve him. His dominion is a what? So let me ask you, all of these nations, languages, and people, is that up in the Shamaim? No, that's here. So when Yahusha comes with the judgment, he's setting up a kingdom here. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed, which means it's going to be forever. Verse number 15, I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth, the beasts. Now, he goes on to talk about that fourth beast, which was more diverse. The first three beasts he compared to animals in the animal kingdom. That fourth beast, I can't compare it to an animal. It's more frightful, it's more fretful, it's more diverse. And he even asks about that fourth beast. And you hear more about it in Daniel about that fourth beast. We're living in the beast, we don't know it. We don't realize it. We're living in mystery Babylon, but we don't realize it. Because we don't know the volume of the book. We're not getting Torah from cover to cover. We're getting Shaul's scriptures or Shaul's writings, and we're wrestling with them, and they're going to wrestle with them to their own destruction because they don't know Torah. But the saints of the Most High, that's written in my Torah. I don't know about yours, because a lot of people don't believe this. But the saints of the Most High, and that's how I usually start my text, don't I? Shalom, saints of the Most High. Because notice who the saints of the Most High. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and do what? Possess the kingdom for how long? Forever. Even forever. And then if you can't explain forever or even forever, if you have a hard time explaining that, then he puts at the end and ever. Just in case you get lost and you think this ends. I'm going to put a final, even ever. So I'm trying to tell you 3 times. If he has to say something 3 times and you ain't got it yet, because you can tell some folks, man, we're going to reign here on this earth forever, man. We're going to be kings and priests. We're going to rule nations. We're going to teach nations. Y'all can have that. I'm going up to heaven. Going up to heaven where? Yahushua's coming down here. That's what it says in prophecy, that he's coming here. But if you're following the Roman Catholic construct of Christianity, they'll tell you you have to live in hell down here and then you get to go to heaven. That's a lie. That's a lie. Oh, so where are you going? So you can live rich and like a king and have this whole world and all this dominion and be as crooked and corrupt as Satan himself, and then you going to heaven? I don't think so. I don't think so. They sold us a bill of goods. Better read Matthew 25th chapter again. Because all those nations, sheep and goats, all of those nations that mistreated his people, there's a place for them. He's dealing with nations now. Dealing with nations. So this here, when it talks about the possessing of the kingdom, we're going back. We're going back to a time. We're going back to the Ancient of Days. We're going back. It has already started. That's why he's waking up people and they're returning to the original Hebrew, or they're trying to understand the original Hebrew. Why is that? Because we're going back. They're trying to understand the culture and trying to live in the culture. Why is that? Because we're going back. When you're talking about the Ancient of Days and seeing the Ancient of Days, and you got to go back. We're going back. Jeremiah 29 and 14. And I will be found of you. Oh, let's start up at verse number 11. Let's start up at verse number 11. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith Yahuwah, thoughts of peace, of shalom, thoughts of shalom, and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And ye shall seek me and do what? Find me. When what? Search for me with what? So we're searching. We're going back. We're searching. What is the old way? What is the old language? What is the old culture? Your culture is changing. Yeah, because I'm going back. You're starting to see that with people. Man, these people, their culture is changing because we're going back. It was prophesied that we were going to go back. Keep reading. And I will be found of you, saith Yahuwah, and I will turn away your captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations and from all the places whither I have driven you, saith Yahuwah, and I will bring you again into the place whence I caused you to be carried away captive. Are you going back? Oh, we're going back. We're going back. This whole book, see, Abba Yah has a vision for his people, and he showed it to us in Torah. It's just that his people would not keep it. He gave them instructions. He taught them how to live. Did Yahusha keep it? Or not Yahusha? Did Yasharel keep the Torah, the living word? Did Yasharel keep it? Oh, no. No. We insulted him so much, we went and found other gods. And he couldn't understand his people. How could you have other gods? Don't you know there's only one? I mean, can you imagine a nation of people had the only eternal living Elohim, and he gave them his name and said, you're my people. And so they wanted to go and be like the Canaanites. They wanted to be like the other nations. They wanted to be like Babylon. They wanted to be like Edom. Edom had a king over them before Yasharel. Kings and princes and dukes and stuff. And Most High Yah says, hey, I'm your Almighty. He gave them names. El Shaddai. You know, he gave them names. El Nissi. El Elyon. These are my names. This is what I'll do for you. I'll provide for you. I'll be your water in the desert. I'll be your air to breathe. I'll be everything. I'll provide for you. They lived in a wilderness for how many years? and their shoes didn't wear out? Some of us can't go 40 days. 40 years, and they was walking. They didn't have Mercedes-Benzes. They didn't have no Lexus. They didn't have that. They didn't have none of that. They was walking for 40 years in a circle. And he says, your shoes didn't even wear out. Your clothes didn't get old. You got somebody like that taking care of you and gave you manna every morning. But then gave you instructions. You can only get it on 6 days. On that 6th day, you get double because there ain't none coming tomorrow because it's the Shabbat. And what did people do? They was out looking for it on the Shabbat. When are these people going to, do you know what you have? We didn't know what we had. Even our ancestors said, let this man's blood be on us. And what? And our children. So our ancestors were a part of that crowd, that responsibility, was a part of that rebellion that said, crucify him, crucify him. That was our people. Oh, the Romans did it, yeah, but it was us that turned him over. Y'all know how we do. We'll turn over somebody quick. We'll turn them over quick. Especially a good man. A righteous man. In our culture today, we don't like righteous people. Look at our people. Somebody righteous, holy, good. No, we got to. If they find somebody good, if you're raising good children, they'll find a way to corrupt them. You're doing everything you can because even Shaul said in 1 Corinthians 7th chapter, because of our lifestyle and our homes, our children are holy. It even says your children are holy because of you. Holy means you set them apart. My house is set apart. My teaching is set apart. I'm doing everything I can. This world does not like it. They'll corrupt them as soon as they get a chance. As soon as they get a chance, they'll sell out the good. Evil and wicked. I'm going to take you back. Let's look at Jeremiah 8, verse number. Oh, before we go, let's look at this. Let's look at the definition of these words. And I want to look at that where it says, into the place, this H4725. Huh? It's in the Hebrew lexicon, it's J and A. So that'll give us the context in which this is being used. So we'll go down here to J and then A. There's J. J means to what? Raise. So the root of it is raise, height, raise, height. Now let's go to A. Did we pass it? Oh, maybe, did we pass it yet? No, not yet? Okay. There it is, A. Okay. Place. A place one does what? Rises up to. He's taken us back to this place where we were before they went into captivity. He's taken us back. And the signs are there because we're starting to see the change in his people. We're starting to see his people change. We're starting to see them go back to the Hebrew. We're going back to the ancient times, calling on his ancient name. The ancient name of Yah, Yahuwah, Yahusha. That's going back. We're going back to David's son. We're going back to even some of the Deuteronomy 6 and 4. We're going back to being a nation of people, trying to wake up. I've traveled to different cities around the country and went to Israelite events and sat in there and was just like, I didn't leave here. Same Mishpacha. It's like I was at home. because the people are going back, because that's how it was supposed to be. Anywhere in Yasharel, anywhere you went in Yasharel, you were brothers and sisters. You were of the same nation, of the same people. It even taught us how to have hospitality and how to treat one another. And didn't Yahusha say, they shall know that you are my followers if you have what? Love one to another. That's how they're going to recognize us. And so what are you saying? Because we're going back. It's already started. It's already started. People are already going back. We had some Mishpacha that went over to Ghana, Africa, going back to where they got into those ships. The last bath, the dungeon, the place of no return. We're going back. We're going back to see that. It's already started. That people are buying land because it's prophesied that we're going to go back to where we went into captivity. That's a part of Torah. I know it's strange because that's not how the Roman religion teaches us. Roman Christianity don't teach us that. They tell us to wait for a rapture and you're going to heaven, but prophecy says we're going back. We're going back to that place. And you know what you have to do to go back? What do you have to do to go back? Got to rise up. You got to rise up. A place one rises up to. Because you got a lot of folks, they scared. Fearful and the unbelieving. Didn't he say the fearful? You ain't going to make it. If y'all got a heart full of fear, you ain't going to make it. We go get ready for this reset. It's time for us to go back, but you got a lot of people that ain't going to make it. A lot of people is not going to make it. I got to hurry up because, okay, let's look at Jeremiah 8:4. And then let's see, Jeremiah 8:4, I think that's what I want. Okay. Moreover, thou shalt say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah, shall they fall and not arise? Shall he turn away and not return? Why then is this people of Jerusalem slidden back by a perpetual what? They hold fast to deceit. They refuse to return. And you know what when he says about walking, he tells them where is a good way? The old paths. And he says, walk therein. But what did the people say? We're not returning to that. We're not returning to that. You got, even now, I mean, we're going back to the culture and the lifestyle, keeping the Shabbat. 6 p.m., on the sixth day at 6 p.m. or when the sun goes down, we enter into our rest. We start to go into our rest. The seventh day during the day, that's our day of rest. We're going back. We're trying to return. He wants us to return unto him. But Constantine Christianity says, you don't have to do that. Isn't that what they say? You don't have to do that. So he says, Jerusalem slid back by a perpetual backsliding. They hold fast deceit. They refuse to return. And you got a lot of people that, I don't know about his, I ain't going back there. But that's what Torah says. That's what Torah says. We're going back. People are asking more about Torah. What's the law? What does it teach? I want to learn how to live in Torah because when we go back, that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to possess the kingdom. He ain't taking all this stuff that this Roman religion is doing. He ain't taking all of that. He's already got something established. I want my people back. What he's saying, he said, but they said they ain't going to return. I hearkened and heard, but they spake not aright. No man did what? No man repented him of his wickedness, saying, what have I done? Everyone turneth to his course as the horse rusheth into the battle. That's Yasharel. But remember now, Yahuwah told Musha in the wilderness, what did he say? I've seen what? I've seen this people. He told Musha, I've seen this people. This is a stiff-necked people. And they're just like that today. These folks are stiff-necked. They'll tell you, we ain't going back to that. I ain't going back keeping no Shabbat. I ain't going back keeping the commandments. I ain't going back. I'm free to do whatever I want to do. Isn't that what he says? Everyone turn to his what? I'm free. I do what I want to do. I ain't going to have no man tell me what to do. I'll do what I want to do. I'm going to dress any way I want to dress. If I don't want to dress, that's how I'm going to dress. Every man to his own course. That's Yasharel. Yasharel's messed up. Let's look at Jeremiah 2 and I think it's 14. And then I want to go to Jeremiah 2, I think it's 14. Might be 13, might be somewhere around there. Let's see, 2:14. Oh, let's go up. Let's see. Okay. Right here, verse 11, I think. Have the nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods, but my people have changed their glory. Now, didn't he say Yasharel is supposed to get the glory? They changed their glory for that which doth not profit. Be astonished, O ye heavens, at this, and be horribly afraid. Be ye very desolate, saith Yahuwah. For my people have committed how many evils? 2 evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewn them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. So he goes on to say, is Yasharel a servant? And that servant there is a slave? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Because every time Yasharel went against the Most High Yah, they became a servant or a slave to all these other nations. He became a servant or a slave to all these other nations. But he did say, because I'm going to finish up here. Deuteronomy chapter 30. Let's start at verse number 1. And then I want to go to Romans 11, and then we're going to Matthew 24. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither Yahuwah thy Elohim have driven thee. What are they going to call to mind? Torah, the blessing and they're going to remember the blessings, they're going to remember the curse. They're going to remember that in all these nations where they've been driven. And shall return unto Yahuwah thy Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart. Remember he said in Jeremiah, if you search for me with all your heart, you're going to find me. With all thine heart and with all thy soul. Verse number 3, that then Yahuwah thy Elohim will turn thy captivity. There's something about Yasharel. They're always into captivity. That's why Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter says, are we a natural born slave? we just meant to be slaves? Yeah, because of perpetual backslide. Because of perpetual backslide as a nation, yeah, you're going to be a servant, you're going to be a slave because you should have chose me. How could you choose me, the living waters, and you choose some broken cistern? It can't even hold no water, which is talking about idolatry. Then Yahuwah thy Elohim will turn thy captivity, have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all nations, whither Yahuwah thy Elohim have scattered thee. Uh-oh. Return and gather thee from all nations, with Yahuwah thy Elohim have scattered thee. If any of thine be driven unto the outmost parts of heaven, from the Shami, from thence will Yahuwah thy Elohim gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. Does that sound familiar? Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So it says here, he's going to gather them, right? If they're driven to the outmost part of heaven, from thence will, so he says, from all the nations where they've been scattered, even from one end of the Shamaim to the other. He's going to gather his people. But it's not going to happen until they remember the blessings and the curses. They remember everything that they've been commanded, and then they're going to start to go back. It says, I'm going to return. I will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee. We can't do it. It's not going to be complete. The whole process won't be complete until Yahusha does this. Romans chapter 11, and let's pick it up about verse number 3, and then I want to go to Matthew 24, and then we're done. If you got any questions, let me know. This is talking about Elijah, Aliyah, they call him Elijah. So, they have killed thy prophets and digged down thine altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of Elohim unto him? I have what? Reserved to myself, how many? 7,000 out of a whole nation? He's reserved 7,000 out of a whole nation of millions. I think Yasharel right now around the world is probably close to like 100 million. But this, back then, he says, I got 7,000. They haven't bowed their knee to Baal, to the image of Baal. Even so, now listen to what Shaul said. Even so, then, at this present time also, there is a remnant according to the election of grace. So even though there was many in Yasharel, how many were elected? How many were the elect? Only a remnant. Only a remnant. Now this is important to understand that out of all of Yasharel, there was only a remnant that were called the elect. So in Matthew 24, and verse 31, I think it is. Matthew 24:31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together, who? See, when he gathers his elect, notice now, Shaul even said, hey, there's only elect. It's just a remnant that are it's just a remnant that are the elect. Just a remnant that are elect. I'm going to gather together my elect from the four winds, which is the four corners, everywhere that Yasharel was scattered, from one end of the Shamaim to the other. Just what Musha said in Deuteronomy chapter 30. This is what Musha said it, and then Yahusha said it. But here he's saying, I'm just going to gather my elect. In gathering his elect, that's the same as saying, well, then all Yasharel is going to be, he's going to gather his elect. He's going to gather his elect. Because we think everybody's going to be, no, it's not. No, they're not. Everybody's not. You have some people who deny their birthright. Do you think he's going to gather people who deny their birthright? I don't think so. Ask Esau. Yeah. Now, I know some don't know that they're Yasharel. I know that. That's why he's waking up. That's why people are starting to return now. They're starting to go back. We're going back to the ancient. We're going back to the ancient name. We're going back to the ancient ways. We're going back to the ancient culture. We're going back because that was prophesied. Everything that we see as far as people waking up, going back, man, you guys changing your culture. Yeah, I don't know what's in me. I know it's in me. I don't know why it's in me, but I know it's in me because it was prophesied that they're going to start going back. They're going to go back, and he's going to gather his elect from all over. It's just the elect that are going to go. Oh, well, what's going to happen to? There's going to be people who don't want to go. They ain't going to want to go. Because you tell them now, hey, y'all, we got to leave Babylon. You better be getting ready. You should be preparing. We used to sing that song years ago, I'm packing up. Getting ready to go. Yes. Yeah. I ain't staying here. I'm not staying here. When I hear that trumpet and it's time to go, I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm leaving. Where are you going? Sound of the shofar. You got to hear it. You got to hear it. Because the only ones he's gathering, he says, and they shall gather his elect. And just like Shaul says, even now, there's just a remnant according to the election of grace, which is his elect. And grace, people don't realize grace is a wall that's around the people. The people are in a camp, and what surrounds the camp is a wall. And that's what grace is. That's how it's explained when Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahuwah. It says Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahuwah. When you look it up there, that's what it is. It's a camp in a circle, and it has a barrier or a wall around it. So what is it saying? Because if you understand the culture and everything, what is it saying? What protects the people are standards, the statutes, the law, the instructions, the oracles. That's what protects the camp. That's what protects us. We have to stay within Torah because that's my protection. Protection against what? Judgment that's coming. If you can't see judgment coming, you just can't see. Because judgment is coming on this earth. I know I said this one. Let me get one more. In Yahuchanan 14:15. Yahuchanan 14:15. If you love me, you're going to keep my commandments. Let's look up this word keep. Let's look up that word keep. Huh? Is it Tiro? Tiro. Terah or Tiro. It means it's a watch, perhaps akin to G2334. To what? Guard. To guard from loss or injury. So those who love him are going to guard those commandments from them being lost. That's why we teach the commandments. That's why we're telling, because we got to guard. We don't want you guys to lose them. It's a shame you can go to a Christian church and they don't know the commandments, the 10 commandments. They don't even know them. They don't even know that's a covenant. It's an everlasting covenant that he gave his people, 10 commandments. They don't even know that. So those who love him, we guard it because we don't want our children in the next generation to lose them from loss or injury, probably by keeping the eye upon, and thus differing from G5442, which is properly to do what? Let's go up here. Come on. Which is properly to prevent escaping. In order to guard the commandments, you're going to prevent people from escaping. Because a lot of people are going to say, they done away with it. You don't have to do that anymore. Oh, no, no, no. No, they're still here. It's an everlasting covenant. Even in the 19th chapter of Matthew, the 16th verse, we're not going to go there, but he asked him, what must I do to inherit eternal life? And he said, keep the commandments. That's what he said. If you want eternal life, keep the commandments. Yes.
So Matthew 5, are you saying that the fourth commandment is the least commandment?
The fourth one is the least one. Yahusha didn't say which one was the least. He just says, if you break and teach men to break the least of these commandments, or the least one. Well, I said that because people can do all 9, but that they'll do 9 of the 10. But number 4, they said we don't have to do that one. That's why I said that. He didn't say that. I'm just saying people keep 9 commandments, but that number 4 commandment, they don't want to keep that one. And Yahusha gave a parable about the woman that had the 10 pearls and she lost 1. And she searched and did everything she could until she found that one. Then she had a big old party. I had lost that pearl or that coin. I got it back now. So and she brought people in, had a great big old party, a celebration. And so, we lost one for a long time. We know how to live holy. We don't believe in sin around here. We never taught you can commit sin. We never taught that. No, you can't commit. No, you sin. Sin won't get you in. And we know that. But we didn't keep. It's like that woman that lost 1 coin or 1 pearl. Because we did all of them, but, oh man, we ain't doing that one. Well, it hasn't been taught to us, So now that we found it, then we keep it. But we don't believe it. You can't break all those other commandments. You can't break them. Notice here, it says prevent escaping, and from G2892, which implies a fortress or full military lines of apparatus. That is to note a prophecy. Figuratively, to do what? To fulfill a command. So he's saying now, if you love me, you're going to fulfill it. That's if you love me. Because we think fulfilling, so even when he fulfilled it, he kept the command. That's what it means when he fulfilled it. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to guard against it. I'm going to prevent escaping. So when people say I can do all things through Christ which strengthen me, and then you give them the 10 commandments, I can't do that. So when we guard it, we prevent that escape. Oh, no, you ain't getting away that easy now. No, you ain't getting away that easy. That's what the commandments does. It prevents escaping. It's that wall. We say grace. I can do whatever I want to do because I'm under grace. You're going to find out at the end. I mean, heed the warning that you need to stop that and put that away. Because if you don't, you're going to find out at the end. And then you're going to want to go back and do it over. It's too late. Once that door is shut, ain't nobody going to open it. Once he closes that door and you can't repent, okay, my time is up. My time is up. But, all right. Thank everybody for coming in and being a part of this Torah study. And if you have any questions or we welcome you to join our Shabbat service on this Shabbat. And also we have Feast of Pesach coming up. The Feast of Pesach is April 23rd, first day of unleavened bread is April 24th. Second day of unleavened bread is April 25th. And we're going to have a feast. We're going to be keeping the Pesach and unleavened bread. And just because unleavened bread, we're going to be together as a Mishpacha on the 25th, it doesn't end at the 25th. Unleavened bread goes, you got the 23rd, which is Pesach, and then 7 days after that, we have unleavened bread, which we're going to eat unleavened bread for 7 days. And we'll talk more about that as we get closer. We're in February now. Time is going to start picking up and going pretty fast here. And I'm hoping things don't completely fall apart before we're able to come together and celebrate Pesach. And to be honest with you, I think, when we have our feast days, that's when you're going to start to see some world calamities. Last Sukkot, and Sukkot ended on October 7th. Y'all remember we was keeping Sukkot, and we got home and we heard the news. And things haven't been the same since. And that was coming out of that feast. And so we got Feast of Pesach coming up. And so you can go to our website, those who are out of town that want to come in and join us for our Pesach. We got Mishpacha from Indiana, from Michigan, from Arkansas, from Boston, Massachusetts, Atlanta, Georgia, coming in from a lot of different states, from California, Nevada, Arizona, Florida, and just coming in from all these different states, coming in to be with us for the Pesach. But you can go to our website. I think it's up there. Our media team put it up there. And it's the URL is www.hebrewfellowship.godaddies.com. And just go to that website. Everything is active now. You can register on the website, and you can reserve a hotel at the venue that we're going to be at. That's also on the website. We do have some rooms blocked. Once those rooms are taken, we'll try to get some more, but April 8th, you'll no longer be able to get that discount. We've got discounted rooms, but after April 8th, those rooms will go up. And we ask everybody, if you're going to register and be here, we like to, about a week before, we need to really know who's going to be here, because we have to purchase, we're going to buy the food. We're just going to accommodate everybody that's coming in. And this is going out to those who are listening in on the platforms that we're on. And we welcome you. We've got a couple families from Waterloo, Iowa, and we sure would love to be in fellowship with you. Just think about it. Let the Ruach speak to you, move on you. Faith, you can move mountains with faith, right? Just a grain of mustard seed, and things can happen. And we like for families to be with us, even those locally here could be with us. Are we off the air?